This is a very concrete way that Columbia can help not only preserve the life of the mind of the Harlem community and be a good neighbor to Harlem and Washington Heights, but also make a real contribution to the heritage of Black America nationally. Harlem is a site of Black imagination, of endless possibility. Harlem can be best understood as a site of perpetual rhythm. There is a rhythm in its politics and its political culture and its language. There's a rhythm in its poets and its artists, its playwrights and its writers. Documenting Harlem's heritage and its memory, especially at a moment of transition in Harlem, is especially crucial. I think about the digital archive of Harlem like a cultural magnet that will attract contributions of all sorts.
The Harlem Digital Archive will allow Columbia to gather many of our Harlem-related collections and assets into a single, searchable repository. It will give students and teachers and artists and documentary filmmakers all over the world new and deeper access to Harlem's history.
There's a rhythm in the intellectual tradition of Harlem that extends back to the beginning of the 20th century, represented first by W.E.B. Du Bois, the co-founder of the NAACP, and also in the 1920s by the Harlem Renaissance.
Montage of a Dream Deferred is an excellent poem to teach about Harlem because, number one, Langston Hughes wrote it, and he's sort of known as the poet laureate of Harlem.
Sun's a set. This is what I'm going to say.
In the 1930s and 40s, young artists and intellectuals who clustered around the charismatic figure of Paul Robeson.
Here is a part which has dignity for the Negro actor. Often we don't get those opportunities.
The intellectuals who debated Black power and Black empowerment, who helped to craft the political strategy, electing David Dinkins, the city's first Black mayor in 1989.
The Fox, brilliant political strategist. Then in 1965, Ray came into me one day and he said, boy, you want to run for the assembly? I said, well, yeah.
Over the years, the Columbia Libraries have assembled one of the world's great collections dealing with African American history, and Harlem in particular. We have in our collections a whole range of published materials, but more importantly, the extraordinary unique materials in correspondence, in literary archives, in film and sound recordings and photographs. All of this powerfully comes together to make this one of the important places for our faculty and students to work and for scholars to come around the world to really write the history of Harlem.
We began to put together electronic courses that would document Black history in a new and dynamic way.
There's a sense of intimacy within a band that has this capacity to swing.
Is a sign of Malcolm's deep overall commitment to movement over everything.
You have to read Ann Petrie. She began to work on newspapers, the major Black newspapers of the day.
Malcolm, though he was not a king, had the makings of it.
Basic information about Harlem, Harlem literature, historical and political background.
I found multimedia extraordinarily unique as a resource in bringing to life new information, new data, new materials.
Toward the speaker's podium.
The VITAL system that's been developed here at Columbia, which allows an individual to extract digital objects. So we've conceived of an online knowledge center, an online library of content to which we would integrate very, very powerful tools that would enable us to extend those resources into classrooms all over the city, as well as all over the world.
Columbia now recognizes that there is a synergy between the task of a modern urban university in an age of globalism and its relationship to the most extraordinary black urban site in the world, Harlem.
It's actually even more special to be discussing this issue at the Schomburg in the heart of Harlem.
This commitment to collaboration, to consultation, to embracing all interested players and parties will enable us to build a much more powerful, much more relevant, much more innovative digital library than would be possible if we tried to do it as Columbia alone.
By telling the story of Harlem, we actually reveal in a profound way something vital and central to the American character, to the American story about itself. That we can't tell America's story without interrogating deeply and richly the story of the meaning of Harlem to itself and to America and to the entire world. And that is why the archive is so crucial.